The US men's national team have sacked Jurgen Klinsmann. He gone. He done. Bye-bye, Jurgen. So there's an actual quote official from the US soccer president, Sunil Gulati. He made this statement: "We want to thank Jurgen for his hard work and commitment during these last 5 years. He took pride in having the responsibility of steering the program, and there were considerable achievements along the way. Many are aware of the historic values, including Lena's added the group of death to the round of 16 in 2014 World Cup, but there were also lesser publicized efforts behind the scenes. He challenged everyone in the US soccer community to think about things in new ways, and thanks to his efforts, we have grown as an organization and expect there will be benefits from his work years to come. While we remain confident that we have quality players to help us advance to Russia 2018, the form and growth of the team up to this point left us convinced that we need to go in a different direction. With the next qualifying match in late March, we have several months to refocus and successful journey to qualify for our 8th consecutive World Cup." And then this was continued that Sam Borden of the New York Times reported that Bruce Arena is likely to be named as Klinsmann's replacement. So Klinsmann took over in 2011, leading them to a Gold Cup in 2013, past the group stage of the World Cup in 2014. Those are his most memorable achievements. So he's came under fire recently, especially after the Costa Rica defeat and Mexico defeat. And even before that, his squad selection's been a little bit up and down, playing players out of position. Those are simple fundamentals I think that Jurgen Klinsmann has lost grasp of. He hasn't been playing players in position that allows them to get the best out of themselves and the team. Reluctant to try new things, reliant on the old guard to, for me, any new manager needs to come in and completely eradicate some of those old US men's players that play along that similar system. I don't think that the likes of Bradley are good enough still to play. Reliant on the Clint Dempseys of the world, who I know has been out due to his complications. But you got to put your faith in the youth of this country. That's the only kind of point I would give to any new manager coming in. But apart from that, here's my point on this that I've stressed from the very beginning, is it's bigger than just simply a new manager. I see a lot of similarities between Manchester United and the US men's national team, and I'll tell you why. The fans, of course, I don't think the US men's national team fans are as passionate as Manchester United fans, but they want the same things, which is to win, which every fan, I understand, wants to win. But some more realistic fans come into a team and they see the certain amount of players that they have, and they think, all right, maybe it'd be good just to kind of survive and mix it with the best and grow and get better as you go on. But the way that the US have progressed, in terms of the way that they got out of the group of death in 2014, they got a taste of what it was like to mix it with those bigger teams, and they got a taste of how close they could come to beating like a Belgium. They were just one sitter away from making even more history. So they got a taste of that, and since then they felt entitled that they were going to go on and do these things and play better. But then they went with the same group of players into the Copa America, and they got bombarded by better teams who played the ball quicker, who had a better level of intensity, and they were found out. And it wasn't just the manager. Yes, he has to take part of the responsibility of that, but this system in the United States will develop 1 out of every 10 or 11 players that are going to be of that quality in comparison to other countries that just develop quality players time and time again. So it's all down to the grassroots level. I'm talking about how much it costs to play soccer in this country. It's something I've done videos in the past when I remember news outlets like Deadspin and whoever else were like, this is why these kids would beat US men's soccer players, focusing on the Mini El Clasicos, where these kids were just so talented and they were amazed and they were like, we can never develop a Messi. Well, the reason why is because you don't actually want to invest in that youth. You don't want to give them the possibility like they do in Spain. These kids aren't paying $6,000, $7,000 a year to try and play a sport that has been considered more of a fad rather than an actual sport and a hobby that they love. It's considered something that they have to pay to be part of. I'm not just saying these things and pulling them out my ass. It's clear facts. I've met a bunch of kids who come from lower economic backgrounds that can't play at a high level because they don't have the money to compete. Pay to play is a system that is shite in this country, and it prevents talented kids from being seen. Because these kids that play with Barcelona and Real Madrid, they're not just waltzing up to Barcelona's front door and being like, hey, I'm here. Bring out the number 10, polish it off because I'm going to be the next Messi. No, most of these kids are scouted from competitive lower division teams that don't cost thousands and thousands of dollars to play. They just play for the fun of it. They love the game. It's in their culture. That I understand. They'd rather go and play than go to a basketball court or a baseball pitch or whatever else. That's a problem in the US. But the more you develop these players, the more you bring through the Pulisic's of the world, the more you bring through kids that want to actually play the sport and want to compete with those higher level sports here, you're going to get more of those kids wanting to do it if they actually can. You're going to tap into more of those kids that want to come and play. Those kids that perhaps are Mexican Americans and they love the culture, they love football, they live and breathe it. Maybe if they get the opportunity to play as much, then you can develop more of them and push them towards the American national team. I just think that it's more so, it's bigger than the manager. I think that you're obviously competing with other sports that are so prominent in this country. No other real country has to deal with that. And you want to be the best. It's another clip that I talked about with JR recently. Well, the main reason, in amongst all of that I just explained, is that the US aren't the best at soccer. So it's hard for US mainstream sports fans to get behind soccer because they're not the best. Like, you see them get behind the Olympics more so than soccer because you see people winning the gymnastics. You see Michael Phelps winning. You're like, I fucking love to win. Winning's what I do. We win. And you're like, all right, I'll back that for that week or month. And then when the World Cup comes around, they back it because they kind of sense that they could win a couple of games and they want to get behind it. But then when that goes away, it just goes into the darkness. It just goes behind baseball, behind basketball, behind football. Because in those sports, you win. You're the best. No one else really competes. So it's so easy to get caught up in that and just ignore soccer until it comes back around in 2016 and in 2020. And then all of a sudden in 2018, you're like, wait, we don't have as good of a team. What's been going on? What have they been doing behind the scenes? Well, you've been sacking your manager. That might help, but you've not been developing and putting as much focus on these kids coming through as you should. So this is a necessary change, I think, and it's a good time because you have, as you mentioned, you have months to prepare. You don't have another game until March. So there's going to be time to try and mature a new system, get used to the new manager, whoever it's going to be, and really get to grips with what this country's direction is going to be in the world of football. But just don't expect a quick fix. That's all I'm saying. Don't expect this to fix everything the way a lot of pundits out there who are taking that same sort of mindset that they have from American football and baseball and putting it into soccer. Oh, we've got to get rid of the coach. Everything else will be fine. It's the coach's problem. The way that Manchester United are, you've got to get rid of Van Gaal. Now you bring in Mourinho, who's a much better coach, but you realise that things aren't as easy as a quick turnaround. When the fundamentals of the team and the mentality isn't right, it's going to take more than just a manager. That's all I have to say. But let us know what you think. Jurgen Klinsmann sacked. Who do you want to see as the next manager? Bruce Arena has been touted to be the next one. I would have liked to have seen someone like a Gus Hiddink. I've suggested this many times before. I actually thought he would have been a good manager for England to bring in. He's a notorious fixer. Did well at Chelsea. He had a great time with South Korea. He had a great time with Australia. Could be a good manager now, but I think Americans want it. American native. Let's win!